WWE announces another massive streaming deal today. Sports Business Journal announced that WWE has signed a deal with Disney Plus to be broadcasted in Indonesia. So we're going to jump into all of that. Plus, we got some more Royal Rumble news ahead of Saturday's premium live event. Some rumblings of Baboni returning to WWE. And The Miz sounds off a little bit on MJF. We're going to dive into all of these trending stories and more today in the top story. Here we go. Hit the like button.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
What's going on, Sports Kita fam? It is the top story of the day, as per usual, right around the 6 o'clock hour, Eastern Standard Time. I'm Jose G. Next to me is my compatriot, Jeremy Bennett. What's up, broski? How are you, man?
What's happening? Lots of news today.
A lot of stuff, man. It just did not stop coming, and it's just there, and it's just in our face. And it's so many news, so much news today that we got to dive into.
And Danhausen is all elite.
Man, a lot of stuff. Great Dynamite last night. Catch the latest episode of the Debrief, where Rico and myself break down last night's Dynamite and NXT 2.0. Good week so far for both shows. But we got a lot of stuff to jump into. Make sure you are hitting that like button, sharing and subscribing. Smash the notification bell on YouTube. Help us get to 30,000. We're well on our way over there right now. We just hit 25K. So thank you guys so much for that. Appreciate it. Also, give us a like on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you give us a follow. Go ahead and do that right now and stay up to date with all of our brand new content. We got a lot of stuff ahead of Royal Rumble and on Royal Rumble weekend. So make sure you stay tuned for all of the stuff. Let's jump into our lead story here, Jeremy. Vince McMahon, WWE, they have a new deal with Disney. Now, we've been talking for many, many months how Disney was supposedly interested in buying WWE, the rumblings of then, and we just reported a few days ago, Nick Khan said that WWE is actively not seeking to sell the company. And today we get this report from the Sports Business Journal that WWE has cut a deal with Disney Plus to stream the WWE product in Indonesia.
Yeah, don't hold your breath that this is the start of something bigger with WWE and Disney. This is just one country on their streaming service. It's much like AEW. They're available on Fight internationally. So, but yet AEW is not on, their pay-per-views are not all on Fight. So it's, I don't think it's something to really get too excited about in regards to a relationship with those two companies, at least in my opinion.
I don't know, man. It's weird because I feel like this is something that's going to be coming down the pipeline eventually. Whenever the deal with Fox or whenever the deal with Peacock is up, Disney could be a strong contender. So this could be a way of WWE testing the markets with Disney Plus and to see what the interest is if WWE was on that Disney Plus platform.
Well, maybe they might need another home.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as family, I'm really not a big fan of Disney. Nobody heard me say that, right? But I'm a Universal guy. I live in Orlando, right? We got Disney and we got Universal. I'm a Universal guy. I like to go to those parks, right? Man, it'll be so weird to see WWE under the Disney banner because I feel they're going to water down that product even more watered down than what it is right now.
Yeah, and then you wonder what happens in stateside, because if it was reported today by the Hollywood Reporter that Peacock suffered a $1.7 billion loss in 2021.
That was a big piece of news there too. They had a massive loss, not only with all the stuff that they have, but that WWE deal also. They got a big loss from that one. I think it was like around $559 million from that deal. I mean, it's like they lost a lot of money. That's crazy.
That was just the $559 million was how much Peacock lost in the final quarter of 2021. They lost a total of $1.7 billion for the whole year. And roughly a third of that was on the final quarter of the year alone. Not good, though NBC's got a lot of money, and they did make $778 million in revenue last year. but a $1.7 billion loss is not good. So it'll be interesting.
I'm not a business expert, but I do kind of understand and follow some of these tech trends when it comes to streaming businesses, right? And from what I understand, usually businesses that are in that streaming industry, they usually take a pretty rough loss the first few years. It takes them quite some time to gain some momentum and make some money off of that. But going back to the Disney and WWE thing, man. Do you see this actually happening at some point? I mean, with this news today, I mean, this is just a little sliver. It's just one country, right? But again, this could be the testing waters.
I don't know. That's going to be so watered down if it is, because they the stuff that they censor on Disney Plus is ridiculous for old shows. So I don't know. I don't think it'd be a good home for WWE. Sure, WWE is going to make a lot of money on the deal, but at what expense? Are you going to, we're just going to make this cartoon rated G wrestling and then just hand the keys to AEW to take over from here? Because a lot of people, if you make it that 2G rated, I don't think everybody's wanting that TV 14 to return, and you're going to go the other way if you partner with Disney.
Yeah, and it should be noted that Fox is also part of Disney in an entertainment sense. Disney did purchase a lot of the rights to Fox's entertainment portion, where I think they own portions of X-Men and the Marvel and the Simpsons are involved in there somehow. So yeah, Disney owns a big chunk of media property out there. So it'll be interesting to see where this whole deal ends up in like 5 or 10 years. It's very intriguing. Just keep your eyes on it. It may not be nothing right now, but again, I have a feeling in my gut these are testing waters for what we're going to see in the future. A lot of you guys sounding off, not liking the idea. I see you guys naming, Goofy versus Brock Lesnar, and Disney sucks. Look what they did to Star Wars. A lot of people think that the Star Wars franchise has suffered a loss since Disney bought the property rights to that. So Andrew Israel watching us on Facebook, I see Disney buying WWE that will just have to tone the profanity down. And I don't know if Vince McMahon and the officials are going to be one to do that, to have them have a creative say in how they do their business and product. I don't know if they're going to do that.
Well, he says, look what they did to Star Wars. Yeah, look how much money they made on The Mandalorian, though.
No, that's one thing that Disney can do is make money. If you go to a Disney park here in Orlando, I'm still surprised they're not charging for air. Like, they
wait,
be charging.
Don't give them the idea. Don't give them the idea.
I'm sure they're already in the works, man. It's unbelievable. Guys, go ahead and engage with the show. Sound off in the comments. Let us know what you think about this whole Disney deal with WWE and the whole Peacock losing a lot of money. But the Royal Rumble is this weekend, and we got some more rumblings of the Rumble this weekend. Jeremy, what's the newest stuff coming down the pipeline when it comes to the Royal Rumble?
Well, first off, the latest from Fightful Select was that Michelle McCool is in St. Louis for the Royal Rumble. Fightful Select has also confirmed that Sarah Logan is in St. Louis. Of course, her husband is on the roster, so that might be part of the reason why. But with Michelle McCool is her husband, The Undertaker. No word if he'll appear at all, but he is in St. Louis for the Royal Rumble as well. So a lot of people already making their arrival, but also another guy that is scheduled to make their arrival, according to Fightful Select, is none other than the Olympic hero, Kurt Angle. And so he is set to be there in St. Louis. Fightful has not heard any details regarding what the plan is for Kurt Angle at this time. He's going to be around for press events, community events, and also film some stuff, probably for the WWE Network, also while he's in St. Louis. He is a part of Conrad Thompson's podcast network, so he's probably going to be doing live shows there as well. But it sounds like he is going to have a presence with the WWE. There have been mentions of him having an on-screen presence this weekend, so it'll be interesting to see if it's something with maybe Chad Gable, maybe something with Gable Steveson if he's around. It'll be interesting to see, but it looks like we might see Angle on TV this weekend.
Now, it should be noted, there was also another report that surfaced today from Ringside News saying that Shane McMahon is expected or reportedly to return to the Royal Rumble You don't know how accurate that story is. There hasn't been any other news outlets to confirm that story, but I wouldn't put it past them to bring Shane back another 5 or 10 minutes into the Rumble.
They're the ones that also reported on Bad Bunny as well, but they are not the most reputable source ever. Oh, they're not a reputable source. So we'll just put it that way. Ringside News is not a reputable source, but they also said Bad Bunny is going to be there as well. So take those two with a grain of salt, Bad Bunny and Shane McMahon. Though it is possible because WWE did do a lot of promotion for his upcoming tour. They played the whole video package that his team put together for that upcoming tour. So it could be possible since they have been actually mentioning him on WWE programming a little more. So that's going to be more likely than Shane McMahon. But at the same time, Shane loves that spotlight. So Shane probably wants to start a WrestleMania feud. Shane probably wants to get back on. He probably has that itch again and probably wants to get on that WrestleMania card. And what better to start a WrestleMania feud than to do something in the Rumble. So those are likely, but again, it's not the greatest source in the world. So don't hold your breath or put bets with Bet Online yet on those. Let's just say.
Stephen Chamber watching us on Facebook about The Undertaker saying, wonder if they will announce him in the Hall of Fame at the pay-per-view. He comes out, acknowledges the fans for a huge pop. That could be very cool.
Acknowledge me.
That could be very cool. Ben Richardson watching us on YouTube saying, we want Shane.
Do we?
I don't know. Andrew Israel watching us on Facebook. Here, Vince Russo in his entries 29 and Jim Cornette's 30.
No, they need to be 1 and 2.
Yeah, man. And we got Christopher Ryan Cooper. LA Knight's gonna win the Rumble.
Oh,
yeah.
Stephen Chambers, man, that's a good guess. That is a good guess for the direction of Shane at WrestleMania.
That could be, yeah. I mean, Shane puts on banger matches, like him or hate him. He puts on some good matches, and he may not be like the first person, but like, dude, when he takes those big falls, it's like there's only one guy you can count on to take a big fall like that, and it's Shane McMahon.
Yeah, and I mean, he had a great feud with AJ Styles back in the day there too. So that would be interesting to have him get involved. He's like maybe talking about Vince backing him a little too much, maybe, giving him the keys to the castle, maybe, or something a little too much. So Shane tries to step in and start. That's a good idea there, Steven. That's a good idea there.
All right, man, let's jump into our last story here because MJF has been making a lot of noise on AEW, especially with his promos with CM Punk as of late. And one person that's always been brought up when they compare MJF is this man, The Miz. And he recently had a interview with the Ring of Wrestling podcast, and he was asked about his comparisons to MJF. And the answer in his response is not what you would have thought. What did he say here, Jeremy?
Yes, Miz talking to the Ring of Wrestling podcast asked about the comparisons to MJF, and Miz said, I don't think he wants to be the Miz, to be honest. I don't think any superstar, no matter what company you're in, wants to be the next this person. You want to be original. There are comparisons I've always been compared to. I was compared to Jericho for a while. I was compared to Ric Flair for a while. I don't want to be compared. I want to be an originator. You take things when you're learning and coming up, you see things you like out of certain superstars and like, oh, I'll use that, sprinkle in a little of this as an homage. In a sense, you want to be an original. I don't think he wants to be the next Miz. I think he wants to be the first him. And honestly, he's doing a great job at 25 years old. When I was 25 years old, I was still in developmental and Deep South wrestling, learning the trade. I wasn't putting on matches on national television and putting together memorable promos that people talk about. I wasn't doing that. Applaud to him. So pretty cool to see the Miz give one of the best heels in the business high praise from another company. That stuff is no longer taboo. People can talk about the other company now in interviews and things where it probably wasn't allowed to at certain points in history of pro wrestling, not just AEW, but back in the WCW days, that was probably more taboo. So kind of cool to see Miz give MJF that praise.
Oh, absolutely, man. I think this is that's huge of the Miz to put over MJF from that sense and acknowledging the type of work that MJF's doing at such a young age. I definitely agree with that. With that description of MJF just doing all of that at such a young age and in front of thousands and thousands of people on a weekly basis. Yeah, he's light years ahead of the game of where the Miz was, or where a lot of mid 20-year-olds were in the pro wrestling game at that age. So
yeah, I mean, I first saw him in MLW, and that was he's probably 22 at the time.
Yeah,
21, 22. He was probably 21 or 22 when I first saw him on TV. And yeah, I immediately compared him to. I actually compared him to EC3 at first. The not the
I could see
current,
that.
not the current EC3, but the money making EC3 that we saw in Impact and TNA.
Let's see, reading some of your comments here, jumping into any of your guys' stuff. We're going to do a mini freestyle Thursday here while we jump into
we had a lot of
comments.
news, but we flew through it.
We did. We flew through the news. We got a lot of your guys' reaction. Eric Calavera watching us on YouTube. MJF should be having a feud with Danielson. Well, I think Danielson's about to jump into a feud with Mox. I think that's what's going to happen soon. We had that little stare down last week. Or was it on Rampage? It was on Rampage last week, right?
Yeah, after Moxley's match with Ethan Page.
Yeah, so I think we're probably going to see that down the pipeline.
That was a semifinal match in that tournament championship that bracket that was supposed to happen, but didn't, obviously, with Mox going into rehab. So now they're basically turning what was supposed to be a match we're all looking forward to, and now they're going to turn it into a feud that we're all looking forward to.
I love this comment from David Barkley. MJF putting it on for the tribe, already the GOAT Jewish heel.
Yeah, man. That, like I said, I've said this on Twitter a lot of times. I would not argue if Tony Khan just said, "Hey, MJF, CM Punk, go out there, roast each other for 2 hours, and that's Dynamite tonight." I'd be like, this will be awesome. They could probably do it for 2 hours too.
Let's dive into Danhausen last night, Jeremy. Last night was a very big moment for a lot of Ring of Honor fans and a lot of guys that have been following Danhausen for several months. You guys know that we reported here on the top story that Danhausen had suffered a broken leg and a pretty severe injury, and we weren't expecting him to be back so soon or doing anything on TV. Hold and behold, last night during the Lights Out match, he pops up from under the ring and gets in Adam Cole's face.
Cursed him.
It was great.
He cursed him.
A lot of nice pop for him.
I said this on my podcast a while back, and I go, if anybody can get on TV without being able to wrestle, it would be Danhausen. And he has said on Twitter that he's ahead of schedule. He's probably not fully ready yet, but yeah, I said it 3 months ago. He could be on Dynamite and still, entertain the masses and not be able to be too physical. And look what happened. I mean, that was a huge pop that Cleveland gave him. I did not see that coming. Nobody saw it coming at all. Danhausen always tweets he always watches the AEW product. He always tweets during the shows. And, he tweeted about, he sent a video of him when he was on the Jericho Cruise talking about the beach break and jokingly, but yet he was inconspicuously not tweeting during the show. So maybe I should have caught on to that more than I did. But
Sneaky.
It was a great
Marcus Deasy watching us on Facebook asking, I want to hear about Lacey Evans, please. We haven't heard any news on Lacey Evans, but she is pretty active on social media. She's been training. She's been getting back into the swing of things. She had her baby a few months ago, so she should be right around that same timeline Ronda Rousey's in. Don't be surprised if you see her at the Rumble on Saturday. I think she'll be coming back sooner rather than later. She just had an interview with The Bump recently, a few weeks back. She's looking in really good shape. So I'm expecting to see Lacey Evans back on Saturday.
Yeah, I think I am expecting that too. Like I said earlier in the week, I think there were 8 women's spots that were still yet to be filled. So minor breaking news, but it's been announced during the collective for GCW's time in Dallas over WrestleMania weekend. Joey Janela always has an indie show during WrestleMania weekend, and it's always a good show to go to if you're in the city that Mania is in. And he just announced the name of the show. It's called Joey Janela's Greatest Cluster F.
Hopefully, if I'm in Dallas, I'll definitely do that. I went to all the GCW stuff collective when I was in Tampa for
Yeah.
WrestleMania, and that was real fun. Really good shows.
Um.
Jason, yep.
Uh. Uh. Let's go back to Dynamite. And are we going to see a better move than Sammy Guevara's cutter off the ladder last night? Holy
Man,
shit! Was
I said
that?
this last night on the debrief that match, that opening match, just looked like a 2K22 video game with all the finishers and every single thing maxed out. Is what we saw last night. It's just everything that you could possibly do in a video game. These guys did it in that ring last night. Is one of the best ladder matches I've ever
That
seen in
move,
my life.
I don't think anything's gonna top that move this year. You got 11 months to prove me wrong, but holy hell, that
Yeah.
was amazing how well that looked. And wow, also speaking of amazing, how in the hell did Cody not bleed in this match? Usually he'd be I figured he'd be just drenched in blood for this match.
He would already be completely in crimson red tied all over his face.
Yeah, Andrew, I saw that. He gave praise for that cutter on Twitter. I saw that earlier this morning.
Let's jump into a few more questions here. Jason Lewis watching us on YouTube. Moxley versus Bryan. Who wins that? Do you have Bryan losing his second feud in AEW? Do you have Mox lose his first feud back? What do you do?
I don't know. I almost think it's time to I don't know, because that's a good question.
Do we bring back the exploding barbed wire match for Moxley versus Bryan? And actually do it right this time?
I wonder if Mox will be the first 2-time champion in AEW history, but he's not. I don't know if he's going to be a heel or not now. He's not really, and then so it's going to be hard for him to take it off a Page. I really don't know what the long-term plan is for Page going into Revolution in March. If MJF beats Punk next week, I think that's going to be your championship challenger at Revolution. And I think MJF takes the title off of him. So maybe there's a long burn for Moxley to eventually get become the first 2-time champion around either Double or Nothing or Full Gear, depending on how long they hold. Because MJF doesn't need to hold the title for 500 days like Roman Reigns. So a Moxley chase for the title. So I'm going to say off the top of my head, I'm going to say Moxley wins that feud.
David Barkley sounding off here on YouTube. Higher odds Cody shows up at the Rumble since he's an FA and dropped the strap to Sammy, free agent.
No.
He has a handshake deal that we know about.
Let me tell you something. Let me spell it out for you on this whole Cody situation. It's called WORK. It's a work.
Jeff Underwood watching us on Facebook. I missed part of it. What's up with the Disney and WWE and Peacock story? So earlier today, the Sports Business Journal had announced that WWE and Disney Plus entered into a deal to stream WWE in Indonesia. Now, this is only in that country. They're going to be able to do it as soon as the Royal Rumble this weekend. So if any fans in Indonesia who love the WWE product, they'll be able to stream it on their Disney Plus devices, wherever they can get it. It's only over there for now, but this could be testing waters for WWE. Jeremy disagrees with me. He doesn't feel like there's nothing to this, but you never know. And with Peacock lost a bunch of money. What was it, $1.7 billion in last year?
$500 million in last quarter alone.
So they lost tons of money with a lot of the stuff that's going on there. So that's pretty much the news in a nutshell there.
Yeah, don't tell Riddle that WWE is working with Indonesia.
Hey,
you might have to calibrate. You might have to calibrate it.
Bro.
You might have to calibrate it, man.
Guys, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Remember to make sure you're liking and sharing and subscribing. We got tons of content here ahead of Royal Rumble, and during Royal Rumble weekend, we're going to have exclusive interviews with some WWE superstars. We're also going to be having a great post show on Saturday night. Rico, myself, Jeremy's going to be there. We're going to have Kevin Kellum.
Rico's going to be on.
Yeah, he's going to be on. We're going to be hanging out, so we're both going to be on camera.
I haven't done. Oh, that's right. You said you were going to be over there. Yeah, I haven't done a show with Rico yet, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so guys, so make sure you are setting your notifications to see first and smashing that notification bell on YouTube so you don't miss whenever we go live. We'll be back tomorrow for a Freestyle Friday edition of the Top Story. One day before the Royal Rumble, you can feel it. There's something electric in the air. That means that the road to WrestleMania is here. It's starting this weekend. Remember also to subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your major podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get it. Go ahead and leave us a 5-star review and subscribe to the podcast. Tonight, my show returns, Weekends of Wrestling. So make sure you tune in. That's going to be at 8 p.m. tonight. That's going to be live on Twitch, Facebook, and on YouTube. So make sure you head on over there and give me a like, smash my notification bell so that way you can see when I drop my new stuff tonight. Rico's going to be on. We're going to be talking Royal Rumble. We're going to be giving our predictions. So it's going to be a fun show. So make sure you do that and give me a follow on all my social media. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and on Twitter. What about you, Jeremy? What you got going on?
I got not much going on except for this here, getting ready for the Rumble. So I'll be back here tomorrow. I'll be back here Saturday night as well. And we'll see what we got coming. Probably going to be a lot of breaking news tomorrow. So SRS is probably going to be busy. So we'll keep an eye on everything and bring it to you tomorrow.
A lot of stuff. So make sure you guys stay tuned because we're going to be breaking a lot of stuff tomorrow. So with that, remember, when you are watching wrestling, you have to do the most important thing, which is what, Jeremy?
It is to enjoy wrestling. Yeah. What number am I? Yeah.
We out of here.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!